Hey everyone, welcome back to Teenager Therapy. I'm Gael.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Kayla.
And welcome back. If you missed it, Mark is gone. He's no longer part of the podcast.
Forever.
Sad
Forever.
face.
Forever.
Now my side is like actually empty.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know what happened, listen to the last episode. But yeah, he's gone forever. I feel like forever is a concept that a lot of us don't really know how to process. It really causes a lot of grief knowing not everything is forever. And that's the topic of this episode, actually.
That was a really nice segue.
Dude, it was just like so sudden. I like.
I know, I was like jump right into it.
Well, like we gotta keep him hooked, no?
Yeah. No.
But also, I mean, separate. Like Mark said that he might join every once in a while.
So I
Just
guess
like
it's not
Isaac.
forever.
Just like Isaac.
So
yeah.
it's not forever.
Holiday specials,
It's
maybe.
like occasional appearances.
Yeah.
We hope he will join. But also hanging on to that hope isn't always the healthiest, which is another thing we'll be talking about in this episode.
Please, let's start it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really good. Honestly, it's so funny how it always works out. Like someone says something
literally.
that perfectly segues into it.
Forever.
Yeah, so look, this episode is all about dealing with losing someone you love, whether it's like a breakup, friendship, even a thing. Because I mean, in general, grief, when you experience grief, that's usually caused by losing a person, friend, or thing or / object. And so I've gone through a lot of that. I mean, it's so funny that I feel like that. I said last episode that this podcast is nicer when I get to just tell my story and not give advice. Yet I always start every podcast by just giving advice, which is so weird because I know I have a story to tell. Anyways, so I am currently going through. I'm in my healing era, essentially. I'm going through.
They split up.
Yeah, it's like, a split up, like a breakup, whatever you want to call it. And I think when people say breakup, they always think romantically. But again, that I'm using that very general. It could be like family, friends, or a lover. So I'm going through a breakup that it's really weird. I mean, I've gone through a couple. I remember, I think, okay. I don't. So I've gone through breakups before, but I've never gone through a breakup where like two people still have love for each other, if that makes sense. I think a lot of the breakups you see in general is one person didn't love you as much, so you had to split apart. Like in friendships, it's like, oh, I gave a lot of love to this friend, but they didn't care about me, so I like split up from that friend. In relationships, same thing. But I don't hear a lot of people talking often about when two people that still love each other, but it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. Differences in values, beliefs, whatever it might be. And it really sucks because healthy love doesn't always mean it will last. And I think a lot of us are conditioned to believe that if it's healthy, it's essentially like guaranteed to work out, but that's not always the case. And that's what happened with me. So there's this person in my life that I had been very, very close to for a couple of years. They were someone that I really appreciated, I really loved, and I really loved being around them. Like, I don't know. I just really thought I got along with them really well. It was just a good friendship. Like, I genuinely loved them as a person. I felt comfortable around them. It was fun to be around them. And I liked talking to them. And so I really had a lot of love for this person. And then over the past week, we just both came to realize and understand that it wasn't going to work out. We had to go our separate ways. And this is for many reasons that I don't necessarily want to get into, but just know in general, there were circumstances beyond our control that prevented us from truly being there for each other and supporting each other in the ways that we both required. And because of that, the only choice was really just, we kind of have to go our separate ways. And I feel like this is the first time where I've experienced that sudden change of they're in your life and they're no longer in your life. Because I've gone through breakups before. I've gone through friendship breakups and romantic breakups. But in both of those cases, the people involved in them stayed in my life. So there was never that like, okay, they're gone. Like they're totally gone. And that's I think that's a completely different level of grief than when they're not. And so I have been trying to process for this last week just what that actually means and how to handle that. I think when you break up with anyone, if it's with a romantic partner, you usually start asking yourself like a lot of what ifs. You start denying the events or just reflecting on the past instead of the present, which is oftentimes why I think everything seems good when you leave something, but even though you know in the present it wasn't. And then with friendships too, it's like you grieve that you're no longer friends with them, but you know it was for the best, right? And so I'm not necessarily sure where to start. I think that's the general context, that there's this person in my life that's no longer in them, and I'm just trying to understand how to deal with that. I think the very first thing I noticed is focusing on what ifs. Just like, what if this? What if I did this? What if this would have happened, right? And that was something I did for a little bit, but I saw something. I was listening to this podcast, and they talked about the fact that worrying about the what ifs is a really bad idea because you're just always, there's an endless amount of possibilities. It'll never end. It will never end. You will keep making yourself feel more and more pain if you think about what ifs. And so I first had to stop that. First I had to stop thinking about the what ifs. And then I found myself just thinking about, it's like, this is so obvious. I miss the person. I miss like the memories that were attached to when it was good versus when it was bad. Look, like, it's just the basic. Like, you look at old pictures, you feel sad. You think about old memories, it makes you sad. You listen to songs, it makes you sad. And how have I handled that has been tricky. I know the playbook. Like, I know what I'm supposed to do. It's supposed to reflect, feel my feelings, like really take time to feel everything, and then I need to accept everything. And then after that, it's just like trying to move on slowly over time. But I don't know where to start. It's weird processing the fact that someone is gone forever, that the version you knew of them is gone forever. And even like when it comes to friends or relationships, when you break up with them, even if they're still going to be in your life, the person you knew is gone forever. They're just gone. And the next time you see them, if you do no contact or you don't speak to them for a while, whether it be a month, 2 months, a year, the next time you see them, you think you'll be seeing the same person, but that person you think you're about to see doesn't exist anymore. You're going to be experiencing an entirely new person when you see them again. And that's so weird. And I think that's what made, for me in my personal situation, what made saying goodbye so difficult is because I kept thinking about that this is the last time I'm going to see this person. Physically, it wasn't. I'm still going to see them. They'll still be a part of my life, probably forever, I would hope. But the version that I knew is gone. And that version I'll never ever get back, nor will I ever speak to ever again. And that's so tough to accept. It's so tough to process. And also just the fact that I think just the fact that during that time you spent together with this person, and I think this is more common in relationships than it is in friendships, although if it's a really, really close friendship, it's definitely there as well. But when you're really, really close to someone and they're the person that you speak with every single day, the person you call every day, and you text them all the time, you tell them all of your things, all of your emotions, everything that's happening in your life, you tell them about it. It might be a year that you spent doing that, maybe 2 years, maybe 3. And once that person is gone, if they were the only person that you opened up to so deeply and so in such a vulnerable way, once they're gone, they will forever be the person that knows that part of your life. I see some people describe this as when you date someone or when you have a really close relationship with someone, you both learn each other's language, you create this new language, and when you split up, there's no one else that speaks that language besides the other person. So all of the memories that they could reference, like, remember that time when this happened? Remember that time when you were feeling like this over this? The person that lived through that with you, that you told during the time you experienced it, is the only person ever for the rest of your life that's going to know exactly what you're talking about and that will get that reference. And from here on out, every person that you tell about, it would only be you telling them about it. They'll never truly understand like what it was like to be in that moment. And that's weird. That's really weird. Sometimes I think about that and I'm like, no one knew me during this time more than you did. And no one ever will. Like, that version of me, only you know. And I guess you'll hold that with you for the rest of your life and the rest of my life. So that's another thing that sucks about losing someone, whether it be through death, a split up, a breakup, or life circumstances. It's really, really tough. And I think that I've been trying to find a lot of acceptance. And at least in my case, so what I did is the person that I split up with, when we decided that because of life's circumstances, we were going to have to not talk for a really, really long time. We spent some time, we spent a week just being together, like having our last moments to just grieve together and process everything together. Just to make sure that we let each other off a little bit more gently, as opposed to just, tomorrow you're gone and I barely found this out yesterday, right? And that was really nice. If any of you are in a relationship or a friendship, and you think you might not speak for a long time, or you want to break up, I really recommend doing that, because it's easier on you, it's easier on them, it's easier on your relationship. It really allows you to get that closure. Obviously, this is only really possible with someone that's able to communicate effectively, but it really allows you to get that closure that you so desperately crave when you break up with someone and when you split with someone. And for me, what it allowed me was just to, first of all, have my mind catch up. Because I like to think about how I feel in two separate ways. My mind and my body. And my mind and my heart. And so when I decided that we needed to separate, neither my mind nor my heart knew what was going on. And throughout the week, as I asked them more and more questions about what happened here, what could have happened better, what did I do wrong, what did you do wrong, that allowed my mind to catch up to what was happening. It found the answers it was looking for. Like, it logically, it made sense. Like, okay, that makes sense. There was nothing we could have done to fix this. This was unpreventable. Everything we tried did not work. Everything we did try, that didn't work either. So my mind caught up, right? And then just a couple days ago, I had my last day with them. And so it was the day we had set, like, okay, this is going to be the last time we'll be seeing each other and speaking to each other for a while. And I mean, it's hard. It's so difficult to let go of someone. And throughout that whole day, the more that I inched towards saying goodbye, every single hour, every hour that passed, every second, I felt like my stomach grow heavier. I really felt it grow a lot heavier. It's like getting butterflies in your stomach, but obviously not in a good way, which is just anxiety. And I felt that getting stronger and stronger, and it was like I was getting to a point where I was just like, I want this to stop. Like, if you, a lot of you might be in a relationship where you know what you have to do. You know you have to let go, say goodbye, but you might not be able to do it. But holding on just makes the anxiety worse. It's better for a quick stab than for someone to be constantly stabbing you. And so, as it got closer to saying goodbye, I just felt a lot weaker. I felt like my mood was dropping. And then, obviously, during the last few hours, we just kind of spent some time saying goodbye. And the last 5 minutes of seeing each other were definitely the hardest. I think that's when it starts becoming real. That's when you really start realizing what you're about to do. And it's so hard. It's so hard. It's like you don't want to let go, and it takes so much willpower to let go. And by letting go, I also mean it physically. Like closing the door, opening the door, getting out, physically leaving is so difficult. And if you get too trapped in it, you'll find yourself sitting there longer than you need to. And so eventually, we said goodbye, and I saw the door close. And to make it worse, it was a garage door, so it was closing really, really slowly. The closer the door got to closing, like the more I started panicking. Like the more panic that came over my body, the more sadness that like just flooded my entire self. And as soon as the door closes, I just felt like all of that come flooding into my heart. It was so hard. It was so difficult. It was weird because it was the most intense pain of my life. The most intense 10 seconds of pain, followed by a really weird calm and just peacefulness. I don't even want to say peacefulness. I think it's numbness. And I remember just like it was literally 10-15 seconds of me crying really, really hard to then just nothing. Like I just stopped. And I didn't even feel like I could cry more. I was like, it was weird. It was weird because I thought that I was gonna be crying on the way home, crying while I brushed my teeth, but I just stopped, and I felt really numb. And I think that's also the thing about grief is, for a lot of it, you just feel numb. You don't necessarily feel like the need to cry over and over again. It's almost just like I wonder if it's your body getting so overloaded that it doesn't know how to react to what it's feeling. Doesn't know if it should cry or not. And so that's some context for why I feel so much grief right now. And over even literally just over the past day, like I said, my mind knows it was the right decision. So I don't have any of the thoughts of what ifs, because I'm like, no, there is no what if. I accept that. There is no what could have been different. I know that. There is no question as to what could have happened better or what will happen in the future, like hope. And I understand and accept all of that. But I think right now my heart still hasn't really caught up to it. I haven't. And I think what I mean by that, I'm not sure if it makes sense, but what I mean by that is that I'm not overthinking. And just annoying myself with these thoughts and making myself even more and more sad. But what I do feel is just the sadness that is there as a result, as a natural response to losing someone. And it's weird because I think also because this person was part of my routine for so long, it still feels, to my heart, it still feels like it's just, oh, it was just a bad fight. I'll see him tomorrow. Maybe the next day. And I think it won't hit me until a week, maybe 2, that, oh shit, they're really gone. They're actually gone. It's not just a bad fight. It's not just a dream. It's reality. This is your new reality without them. I don't necessarily have anything to say about that because I'm not there yet. I don't think I have processed that I'm in this new era of my life, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to processing that. That's that. That's my story. And it's so weird because every time I speak about something that happened, it feels like I'm just rambling the whole episode. I'm like, what is the value of this? Like, I should just be like, this is how you do this. But I have to remind myself that a lot of times just people hearing that you're in the same spot is so much more impactful than me trying to figure, like, so this is how you should think about it.
You do have a habit of doing that.
I know, because it just feels so, I feel so useless, and like by just sharing, like, I feel sad because this happened, and it's like, okay,
No,
I'll
that's
get
literally
to the
like-
tips, but
That's literally the whole point of this.
oh, I know, it's just, I don't know, I trying to figure out where to take it besides just
I
it's
mean,
like, no, it doesn't
I
even
mean,
go
Sometimes
anywhere.
you don't have to take it anywhere. You just
Right?
kind of share your experience, and you're not even. You just started the grieving process.
No, right?
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't
There's-
expect you to have all the answers.
Exactly. There's no like lesson to be learned exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that goes for everything, you know. It's like you go through something and you don't necessarily have the answer
Yeah.
right when it happened.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, that's just the podcast. It's just saying what we're going through. That's
Yeah.
really just it.
Lesson TBD.
You know what I
Yeah.
hate about it? I hate that I'm feeling these negative emotions. I just want to get over that. And I think that's why I think about this. My assumption is that if logically I can make sense of it, then my emotions, there's no need to have the negative emotions anymore because I know what's happening, right? It's like when you lose someone, it's like, okay, let's say you were in a toxic relationship. When you get out of it, you're like, I know it was toxic. Like, I had wanted to get out of it for so long now. I craved getting out of it. So why am I still sad now that I'm out of it? And I think a lot of people struggle with that. And I do too. I hate it. I hate knowing that it was the right choice, yet it still makes me sad. Like, that doesn't feel right to me. It sucks. I wish I could just make the right choice and only feel right emotions. Like, right now, I wish I could feel, I don't know, liberated or fine or just okay, normal, but I feel sad. And that's annoying.
It's okay. I mean, grief is just like such a huge process. Like, it's so long and so daunting. No one likes it, and everyone goes through it. It's just, what are the stages of grief? Do you guys remember? It's like denial first.
Something like that.
Is anger one of them, I feel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, I don't know, but let's just say I've had my fair share of grief. I've had a lot of friend breakups and a lot of, not a lot, just like one romantic breakup. And you know, it's been very hard because, like Gael said, like, the person isn't necessarily gone, but the person you knew, that version of that person of that time, is gone. Like, you're never gonna go back to that time, and you're never gonna be with that same individual again, not in the way that you want it, at least. So it's, I don't know. I mean, I usually take a long time to grieve because I do grow very attached to people, and it's hard for me to let go. But like I said, it's just a process. Like, there's not much you can do to like expedite it. Like, there's no hack, there's no cheat codes. Like,
you just gotta feel it.
yeah,
You have to spend so much
Genuinely.
time just feeling.
you literally have to go through it. Like, you, like, don't ignore it, obviously. Like, you literally have to just navigate it yourself, be patient with it, because one day you could be doing completely okay and the next you're not, and maybe a year from now you haven't thought about that person for like a whole month, and then suddenly you do. You know, it's not always linear. Like it's gonna come and go. Sometimes it'll always kind of be there, and it makes sense. Like you're always gonna have love for that one person, for that one friend, that you shared such a meaningful connection with and such a beautiful time with. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just some things just don't work out. People outgrow each other, and that person was in your life for a reason, and they taught you a lot. It's just
That's it.
it's just time to let go and be appreciative of the fact that you have something to grieve over and you weren't completely alone. You
Yeah.
know?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I've been spending a lot of time thinking about trying to tell myself that I'm crying because like they're happy tears. Like I'm crying over this memory because of how nice it was and how much happiness I feel, that although I miss it, I'm so happy that like I was able to love someone that much, and that's why I'm crying. I'm not crying because I miss the relationship. It's just they're happy tears. Like I want to be thankful for the time that I spent with them. I don't want to see these memories in like frustration that why can't I have that? I think
And it's okay if you do for like a little bit.
yeah,
You
for
don't
sure.
have to quickly jump into, oh no, like it's happy tears. It's okay to grieve. So
He's still trying to rationalize.
Yeah.
That's the thing though. I think that a lot of us are too greedy. We're too greedy with happiness. We think that whatever makes us happy might last forever, and oftentimes it doesn't. That's why a lot of people say nothing lasts forever, and that includes happiness. Happiness does not last forever. And I think when we get so stuck looking at memories, and when those memories makes us sad, if it's a painful sad, it's because we were just too greedy. Like it's about being thankful. At least that's how I'm viewing it. When you could be sad about a memory, but also understand that you shouldn't be greedy about it. Don't be greedy that you can't have that happiness anymore, even though you might want that happiness back so badly. Learn to accept, to let it go. Because if you don't let go of the happiness you felt in the past, you won't feel any happiness in the present. And so that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. And I think it is important. The thing is that grief is weird. That's why I'm like in this weird conflict. For one, moving on, I'm scared of moving on too quick, and I'm scared of moving on and taking too long to move on. It feels like moving on too quick is wrong, and then it also feels like taking too long to move on is just painful.
I mean, do you really have to justify and like see it through the lens of like this one big process and like you check off all the to-do lists and stuff? It's like you just grieve and
It's because
obviously don't let yourself get stuck in like a memory or like a habit of like just thinking like what if it's gonna take a long time, or it might not, but it's just it's a process you kind of have to embrace.
I think it's because I'm scared of
Being disrespectful?
No. I think this is different. I'm scared of I'm scared of never leaving the grieving stage. I'm scared of always wanting this person back. I'm scared of not being able to accept that they're gone. And I know that if I let my brain say the same things like what if or why can't I have this, it's just going to keep me in that loop, and it will really slow down the healing process and the grieving process. And so while I'm still taking time to be sad and let my body feel these emotions, if I feel the need to cry, I'll cry about it. But I make sure that I'm slowly changing my thought pattern to reassess my relationship with that person. Because, like I said, the person that I knew doesn't exist anymore. And if I don't take intentional time to look in my mind and say, this person is not there anymore, and that's okay. Eventually, I might see this person again, but I no longer will see them in a romantic way. If it's in a relationship, in a sexual way, if it's a friend, in a familiar way. I need to remind myself how to form a new perception of them. And so I think what I'm trying to do now is just make sure I slowly start doing that. Because if not, it's so easy to get caught into unhealthy thought patterns that keep you attached to them longer and longer. And so that's why I'm being very intentional about letting myself feel the emotions, but at the same time reminding my brain, but they're gone and that's okay. I miss the person. I miss their personality. I don't miss their relationship, right? I don't miss the friendship. I don't miss whatever it was that you miss that was bad. You miss the good, not the bad, and so forth.
Yeah. Just as long as you don't rush it, it's all good.
And I went through something similar to you, Gael. But not exactly. So the person that I'm with now, we did break up.
So this is romantic?
Oh yes, romantic. But we were like, I want to say like around 3 months into the relationship. And it was pretty abrupt too. It was like very much out of nowhere. Was not expecting it. We were on a date that day.
That's hard.
Yeah. So it like completely blindsided both of us, which made things like 10 times worse. And again, just reasons aside, it was just, it came out of nowhere. And
was this from your perspective that it came to you, or you gave it to them? Or does that matter?
What?
Like if you were the one that ended things, or if they were the one that ended things?
Oh, it was...
Or was it
I guess I was the one that like officially ended things, but...
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a conversation that came up out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, well, this is it. Like,
okay.
I don't want to be with you anymore, I guess. And it was more personal reasons too. It wasn't more so them. But that was pretty hard because it was just like a regular day, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, like when I go home, like I'm just gonna message you like, when do you want to get your stuff? And that's like, that's it, it's like no more like, oh, good night, like sleep tight, like so it was a very, very stark difference, and it was hard to like process. And even then, oh my god, that word process, half the time I don't even know what it means. But yeah, it was just a difficult thing to like try to take in. But Gael, with you said you guys knew each other very well. It's like only this person knows you, this blah, blah, blah. But I sort of felt the opposite, where it was like we had so much potential. So I felt that like he didn't even fully get to know me. I didn't fully get to know him. I mean, it had only been like 3 months too. So I was like, I just felt like I was clinging on to this, like what we could be, or like what we could have been. And so that was really hard too, because it was like I saw a lot of good qualities in them, and I knew that like had I given myself the chance to like open up more or be, whatever, it could have gone somewhere that would have been great. But I just didn't give myself the chance, and the timing just like came out of nowhere. So I was like really fighting with myself with that, because I just put a lot of the blame on myself, because I was the one that I guess like officially like said, let's end things or whatever. And so just that whole time period, it was weird. It was just like I was just going through the motions, no complete feelings there, no feelings of anything.
Really?
It's just like I was just doing my own thing, I guess. And, I was going through school too, so I had a lot to focus on. So even then I couldn't fully like think about the breakup, because I just had like a lot of things to do too. And then, the free time that I did, it's like, God, I don't want to think about this. So it was kind of hard. But, you know, I think I just ultimately realized, like, it ended over such, like, it ended just because I got, like, too scared, and I was like, this is too much. Like, this is too much. Like, I'm calling it quits, you know? And so that grieving process ended. But the time that it was there, it was so hard to not, like, reach out or anything.
Did you feel sad ever? Or it was.
I mean,
also
of course, literally the night of, I was just like,
did you have that, like, by sad? I just mean, like, oh, yeah, I feel sad because obviously, but, like, did you have that heart wrenching, like, oh my God, like, you're gonna cry into your pillow? Or was it just,
I did. I did a bit.
okay, because a lot of times
Don't.
people say, like, it's a lot more painful when you're still in the honeymoon stage and you break up because you're in love with the potential, and the potential is obviously so much greater than reality.
Exactly. So that was my case, and I just remember the next day, like, Thomas came over and, like, my room was just, like, so dark. It was just depressing in there.
It was, yeah.
No fresh air.
You know?
Like, no fresh air at all.
Oh my God.
Like, my suite mate keeps at, like, 72. Like, no, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, it was just really bad, and I just wanted to stay in bed the entire day. Like, I just did not want to do anything, and like, in my head I was like, you know, this is part of the process. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I need to do this. Like, this is good. But Thomas convinced me to go outside, just, like, have a little picnic, just lay down, get some fresh air, some sunlight, and it helped. Who would have thought? Like, who would have thought? But it really helped, and I think a big part too was talking about it with my friends. Like, they were able to understand, and just knowing too that, like, life is beyond this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, friends do a big part in, like, contributing to that, because I was like, okay, I know I won't have him, but it's fine. I still have, like, other people around me, but I did go back to him. For good reason, not like a toxic, like, on and off. But yeah, I think just a lot of self-reflection. I came to the conclusion that I was just being dumb. I was self-sabotaging. And so, yeah, I think it's hard just, like, knowing that, okay, well, in the moment I thought, I was like, this is it. I've known you for so little, and yet felt these, like, intense feelings, and now it's like,
that's it.
bye again, you know? But I don't know. It's hard too, like, not checking their Spotify, not checking their Instagram.
You gotta have a lot of self-control.
A lot of self-control. Like, the amount of times that Thomas would see, like, his username on my Spotify search. Like, yeah, I think just being patient with yourself, you know? It's like, how Thomas said, it's not linear, and it's okay to, you know, backtrack at times. That's literally just human nature. Like, logical or not, it's going to happen. And if you keep on, like, beating yourself up about it, that it's not going to do you any good.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, everybody does it, and you have to recognize that.
Just backtracking sucks. It
does
so much, because you know it's going to make you feel the pain again, and then you're going to have to heal again.
That's just part of the process, though.
Really
that's like,
not for me. It's never. I don't want it to be part of the process. I'll just not have amazing self-control. I'm just kidding. It probably will. It has.
Yeah, I mean, really, like you said, there's so much things to experience in life beyond just one person. Like, we always think, like, certain things are gonna make us happy and keep us happy, but yeah, there's just so many things that are gonna make you happy again, and the things that are gonna make you happy are always gonna change. So I don't know, just don't only think that was, like, your one chance at happiness. Like, it was your one chance at true love, or this one chance at having this really great connection. Life is gonna bring so much more of that. You just have to be patient and willing to, like, be open to it and the change it'll bring.
That's so hard. That is, like,
it took me, like, 2-3 years. So
I mean, my God, dude, that is
your 20s.
You'll see by 21.
That is, I've had some I hear a lot of people talk about those feelings, and I can't like. Oh,
You can't fathom it.
I mean,
can't,
obviously,
because like it feels.
Because it just happened, Kyle. Like,
No, and it sucks when
It's been 24-hour base.
like in general, it sucks when your personalities match. It sucks when it's so weird to comprehend that there's so many people that can make you happy on an equal scale. But more than anything, I think when you're grieving someone, it's so hard to get over the feeling that I know they're not the only person. I know they're not the only one that can make me feel this way, but I want it to be them. Like, I want them to be the one to do it. Even though I know there's so many people, there's people that could do it even better, probably, but I want it to be them.
because it's all you know.
I know, but even, that's the thing, like, even the thought of knowing, like, let's say someone can treat you better. Like, someone, you'll be a bigger match with someone. Like, and this is the one thing that even logically I have struggled to accept, that, like, let's say you have a friend, like, even though you know there's this friend that you'll find so much funnier, that they'll get you emotionally, that they'll take care of you so much better than this other friend, you still wanted it to be the old friend that you were friends with. Like, you wanted it to be them really, really badly. And it's like, why? I can't understand why you want that, because even though you know there's better, you want that person to be your person. And it's
Because in the
Yeah.
moment, like, those memories are like what is so special to you, because you just experienced
yeah, that's
them.
true.
Like,
That's so true.
You have history with them compared to this other person who
Like-
has the potential, but you saw the potential of the other person already.
yeah, and you know,
That's true.
there's like a lot of moments in life where you're like, this is like the happiest I'll ever be. Like, how can it get any better than this? And somehow it just does. Like,
Yeah.
happiness is only like, I don't know, it's so immeasurable. Like, it's just gonna happen when you like
So
least
true.
expect it.
That's the thing. I know it's like, my brain is so dumb because I've literally lived through this before, and I prove myself like, okay, so that's what's going to happen. And I know it's going to feel that way. Yeah, I think every time it just feels the same. Like, and that's just heartbreak, right? Like,
Yeah, that's just how it
I have
goes.
felt it with friends. Like, I felt it with Thomas when I dated him. It's like, during the relationship, I remember, like, when we were young, like, I think, I don't know, like freshman year, it's like, I remember thinking about our relationship. It's like, oh my God, like, there's going to be a future where Thomas won't be in it. Like, the frustration that could happen. I remember it being so strong.
Where's that future?
Where is that
So weird.
Like, I remember in the moment it felt impossible. But as time went on, it was like, that feels fine.
Yeah.
It feels fine. But then again, that's how it feels this time. It's like, oh, I want this person. I want to have that future with them. And I don't want like to have it with anyone else. Like, only them, only them. And I know. And it makes me sad knowing that I won't feel about them that way later. Right? I hate not loving someone as much as I once did.
Mm.
Like, I hate having a friend that I loved so much. I love them so much, and I wanted them to be my friend for life. And knowing that we're not friends anymore, and we probably won't ever have the same level of friendship, and it sucks knowing
That you'll eventually like get over it.
that you'll eventually get over wanting to be their friend, wanting to be that close to them. Like, it makes me so sad right now. Like, no, like, I think to myself, like, no, like, don't. I want to hold on to these feelings so I could keep like feeling this way about them, and it just makes me sad that I have to get over it.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to. I don't want to stop loving them in the way that I do now.
I was waiting for you to bring up our relationship, but yeah, like when we were together, I really thought that was gonna be like the happiest time of my life. Like, freshman year, me really was like, this is it. This is like peak happiness, and I can't imagine to have like stayed with Gael like this entire time. Like, that would have been crazy, and I would have missed out on so much, and I wouldn't have had the memories and the happiness that I've been able to share with like so many new people and just so many new experiences that I wouldn't have been able to have, because I really would have thought that Gael was my only chance at happiness. So
It's so weird.
yeah, you don't want to get over them, obviously, but once you do, it'll feel like a nice change.
That's what fucks me up. That I don't want to get over them.
I mean, that's the whole point of grief.
That's why I feel like it'd be so much easier to have a reason to want to get over them. Like, they did this really bad thing. Like, that would make it so much easier. Like, please hurt me so I have a reason and I feel validated and I know, like, nope. Like, I don't want to love them anymore.
Honestly, yeah. I think knowing that, like, it didn't even end on bad terms. Like, nobody did something that was, like, super outrageous enough to break up with. It was just because timing or whatever you want to call it, you know? Yeah. It was just, like, it just wasn't the right, you know, time or circumstances.
You
just weren't ready. And it's just, it sucks because you don't hold any, like, ill will towards them. And then after the breakup, you, like, sort of try to look for that. You know, maybe you'll look at memories and be like, you know, I didn't like when he did this anyways. Or, like, I'll just try to find a reason to be okay with me losing them, you know? And, like, I remember, too, like, I would see, like, oh, he followed somebody new. Wow, like, I shouldn't have never dated them in the first place, you know? But it's just looking for things to hide the fact that I was hurting, you know? It's fine. I think once you finally do get to that point where you realize, you know, you don't miss them all that much, it won't be as bad as what you're describing.
Yeah, I hope so.
And also, it's been like a day.
Yeah. No, literally.
Yeah. Guys, keep that in mind. Yeah, it's been one day. Like
that's the thing. Like, it feels like I've gone through so much emotionally, even over the past like 48 hours. It feels like it's so funny because I'm like, wow, like, okay, I'm almost done grieving. Like, only a couple more days and I think I should be done. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, what if the worst hasn't even come yet? But I don't know. Maybe I have. I don't know. Like,
I mean, you still clocked into work. Like,
I know. Like, not even a sick day. Like,
still showed up. Talked about it on the podcast too.
Yeah, that's the thing that I like.
Maybe you're just a lot better at grieving than you thought.
Literally, and it feels guilty knowing that too. Listening to this podcast about grief, it was more about the science of it and how to deal with it. And grief is both psychological and neurochemical. So there are chemical reasons as well as to why some people grieve longer. There's actually, I believe there's actually like I don't know if it's a disease or what you call it, but a symptom that eventually, like, some people have that prolongs their grief. And grief is an incredibly hard emotion for them to especially get through. And some people grieve faster. And also on the 5 stages of grief, there's more research that came around it. Not everyone feels all of those. Some people don't feel the anger. Some people don't feel the sadness. Some people don't feel the denial. Oftentimes many feel many of them, but not always will they feel all of them. So if you find yourself not feeling the anger, not feeling whatever it might be, that's normal. But yeah, I find myself feeling scared of emotionally grieving and finishing the process too quickly. Like, what if in 2 weeks I'm like, wow, I feel a lot better.
That's a little concerning.
That's the thing.
I'm not gonna lie. That's like really concerning.
Those are the types of things that make me like insecure about it. Like, even though it's a good thing, like, I don't doubt my love for this person, especially. I've thought about it so much. I'm like, no, I love this person. I love them now. Like, their personality. They are the best friend that I could have ever asked for. They were literally like my best friend. I love them. I truly did. I never once, even in anger or sadness or hurt, saw them with any, I don't know, anger. Even when they annoyed me, even when I felt they were they were wrong. Even when they were wrong, whatever it might be, I never once looked at them and thought, like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to love you anymore. It was always like, I want to love you more and more and more. And so that's why it's like concerning now, just thinking, like, what if I only take 2 weeks? Like, is that wrong? You know? And so
I also feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on a timeline where you need to be fully grieved by this date, and then you need to be healed by this date. And
and you're even like using science to like back
I
it up, and it's just
know.
like
No.
just
talking about like 2 weeks, 1 week's like, babe,
there is
No.
it's scientifically proven that some people have these symptoms. It's like, Gael, like, how do you know? Like, you wouldn't know if you're not gonna go through it. Like, it's just something you just find out later
just
on.
Don't put.
I just
so
want to
much
know what
pressure on
I'm
it.
like
Don't
to expect because I'm so scared. I'm so scared of the unknown.
no, embrace it. Like, I feel like a lot of other people have that same issue where like they don't like these negative emotions, so they'll just be like, no, I moved on already. Like they literally reject feeling those things by ignoring it, and then maybe just like jumping into another relationship. That's why whenever I see people like in year-long relationships and like and they actually loved each other and the person moved on so fast, that's just like, how? Like,
Yeah.
I don't trust you, you know? Like, that's just so concerning. How can you have loved someone so deeply and just be able to move on so quickly like that? And, you know, like I said, maybe they're just scientifically different. Like,
He's built different.
like literally built different,
built
and you can't grieve, or like you grieve so much better than other people. But I also just feel like that's kind of bullshit. Like, feel like you're not giving yourself the chance. Feel like you're not being honest with yourself. You're delusional.
You see, that's the thing. Like, I definitely don't feel
Maybe
delusional.
that's a hot take. I don't know.
I from my perspective, I hope it doesn't sound like I'm saying that I am gonna just be over it. I'll be in a relationship in a month, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because I like won't feel anything. I'm completely fine. When I say like I'm scared of grieving too quickly, I don't know what I mean. Honestly, I think it's more sadness. It's like, just I put so much pressure on myself. Like, what if I'm not sad enough? What if I'm too sad? Instead of just letting it be and finding out. And I think a lot of that comes from like the desire to, you know, please others, and like, because I think that a lot of people, they have there's a pride in like, oh, I took, you know, this long to not feel sad, as an indicator of that's how much I love them. And I don't think that's always the case. It does vary. I think some people also are just better at coping with emotions. And for me, I definitely don't see myself getting into a relationship. I don't think I can. Like, I am emotionally exhausted. And I even in 3 months, even in 4 months, I cannot imagine getting into a relationship. Probably, honestly, for like a year. I say that now. But I really can't. Like, I really cannot imagine having that sort of energy again. I think when I say, like, I'm scared of grieving too long, it's just, I'm scared of being sad for too long, and I'm scared of being sad for too little. And that's why I say, you know, if I stop being sad in 3 weeks, I guess that's a good thing. Like, I think it's just since I often hear, like, oh my God, like, I'm still not over them, or it took me this long to get over, to not be sad about them anymore. I'm like, oh my God, maybe it should take me that long. And so in my head, I just have to wrap it around myself that like, whatever timeline I'm in is correct. If next week I don't feel sad, it doesn't necessarily mean I didn't take time to process my emotions, because I do trust myself that I have been. Even though this might be hard to believe, I have been being sad. I purposely tell myself, like, I take time out of my day where my whole intention is to be mindful and be sad, and just think about what I'm feeling, cry for a bit, say, okay, I'll be sad after this. Because the thing is, that's just how you cope with things. I can't put my life on pause either. I would love to just do nothing for the next like 3 weeks until I feel absolutely no sadness, but I know that I can't do that, and so I have to pace myself, right? Like, if I need to focus on school, I need to be like, I have to get him out of my thoughts, or else it's like my whole life is going to suffer. And so I think for me, the emotionally responsible thing to do is like, you know what? Like, every night I'll take 30 minutes to just be sad. Every time I drive, I'll take that time to be sad. So that's what I've been doing, and it does help a lot. And I think that mixed with the changing your thought pattern about the person, and then practicing entering new thoughts. Like instead of I'm so like I like what if, it's like I accept it for what it is, and acceptance. So I think my therapist would be very proud of me, actually.
Yeah. I just think you're
Very calculated.
yeah, I think it's very calculated. I think your history of being very avoidant of negative emotions also is kind of telling. But
sure.
I mean, grief is
It's different for
it's different
everybody.
for everyone, and if you think you can grieve that fast, and if you do grieve that fast, then good for you. But yeah, that's cool.
I know.
Just don't rush it.
I'm not. Like that's the thing. I'm just
Okay.
Another part about breakups too is just, for me at least, just the dread of knowing that I'm gonna have to go through the same process
I
again.
know. No.
It's just this. Oh my god! Like having to go through like another talking stage, or like trying to like find somebody, if you are intentionally trying to find somebody, or just somebody that gets you like the same way that they did. And it's just the thought of that. Oh my god, it was just so burdening. I was
know.
like, I don't want to do that again.
They have so much to learn about you. Like all your history, you
Yeah.
have to retell them your history.
Exactly. And even then, it's like, let's say you do meet somebody, there's always that possibility that, you guys separate, and then it's like, okay, you go through the grieving again. But
That's the worst.
that's just like relationships.
That's just
you know?
life.
That's what you sign
life,
up for.
friendships,
Yeah.
everything. And I'm like really glad. I feel like I haven't had a really, really bad friendship breakup, or at least like close friend. And I'm hoping it stays that way. Because that would hurt. Like, I feel like that would hurt the most.
Yeah.
This is why I can't imagine right now. I think once my emotional battery recharges, I'll feel better. But right now, I can't imagine wanting to be in a long-term relationship again, unless I know like this is someone that I could like marry forever.
But
It's
isn't that what
draining.
you thought with this?
Yeah, it's like
Oh, wait.
What?
you you like never think it like it is until it is. Like you can't control what's gonna happen, and
Yeah.
life just happens, and you have to be accepting of it.
Yeah, like I mean, I feel like this friend is just. It was like a long-term relationship, like unless right now it just feels like unless I know that I'm gonna be with them forever, like it sucks. Like
But how would you know if you never tried?
that's the thing. Like it's just like I wish we could be friends and grow old together until we die, and that's our friendship. Like why do we ever have to stop being friends in relationships too? Like it's scary. I think that's why there's so much comfort in marriage, is because it's like I don't have to deal with that ever again. Like
You're with
you
that
will
person
forever
for
be
life.
here. Like marriage there must be so much peace that comes with it. And I mean, I think when it comes to breakups, a lot of times the hope is so tough to deal with. A lot of you ask us about that. It's also like, especially when it's the wrong time, a lot of people that get into relationships when they're young, I'm just like, that sucks, because there's a couple ways it can go, and I think the ones that hurt the most is when you find someone you really vibe with, and you could see yourself spending the rest of your life with them, but they're just not ready yet. And there's still growing that needs to do. And while I am a believer in growing together versus alone, I think it is possible to grow together. Oftentimes, there's things that are better off being solved alone. Things that is better if you grow alone, and things that aren't possible to grow while in a relationship. And a lot of people, I think, struggle with that fact, because it's like we really have to break up, like, because whether we're just too young or we have issues we need to solve, and the only way to solve them is by splitting up, taking time for each other, for ourselves, and then after that it's just a gamble. It's like a gamble of, let's say you break up at 20 and you both realize like, this is someone that I could see spending my life with. But then you think like, just not right now. Like maybe in 5 years, once they fix these issues. The thing is, they might never fix those issues. You don't know that until you reach 25 and you might be able to see that a little bit better. 2, they might fix those issues, but realize they love someone else now and they don't love you at all. And that's so scary. That is so scary. And what sucks even more, and I think why hope kills so many people, is because you don't know the answer for 5 years, 10 years, however long it might take. It's something that's in the back of your head. It's like you can't get closure. You're starved of that closure for so long.
I mean, like, what if you, or like, what if the other person finds somebody else too? Not necessarily that it's just like, their partner that moves on. Well, like, what if you move on?
What if both of them?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like both people can find happiness.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think, when I think of that, like, if I were to like be in a relationship that breaks up and then because of like the need to grow, I think, I don't know, I would, even if I know that I might find someone that I'm happy with, I think it's just so hard to believe in the moment that you'll really love them and you won't feel any love for this other person.
I think that's the hardest part too, because it's like, does that love ever go away? Or
right? Like I'm hoping it goes away.
Like, what do you do with it? But I don't know. You're going to have to tell us in maybe a few months or however long. No timeline.
Right? Like maybe I'll find a new friend that I vibe with, or maybe I'll forever love this one friend and want them in my life. What am I supposed to do about that?
That right person, wrong time trope is really heartbreaking. And if you like see it that way, it's harder to move on because you're like, well, that's the right person and it was just the wrong time and now I'm doomed for life. But like I said,
the wrong person.
There's so many more right people, it's like,
that's the thing about like finding a right person, is even I sometimes don't know what that means, especially when it comes to like, I think I know, but then again, it's like, okay, if you're finding, let's use romantic, like if you're finding a lover, someone you want to marry for life, what is it that you look for in the right person? Is it because some people there's like a natural chemistry with, right? It's like, wow, like we just get each other, we get each other's humor and stuff, but you might, and you just click instantly. And there might be this other person that you also really love the personality and like everything, but you have to learn to love them a little bit harder than you do this other person. What's weird about that is like, okay, so then who is the right person? Like, what does that feel like? Should the right person feel like almost effortless? Of course, all love is work. But what is the difference between like, should I be working this much to love this person, or will it feel more natural with the right person?
I don't know. I feel like you're really trying to calculate it again.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it does make sense.
It does make sense.
Like, what does the right person look like? Is it someone you find or someone you build?
It could be either. Anybody that you find. That's the thing. It's just like it just happens.
Yeah,
it's
and
not
also
like you calculate. When you're going out, like I'm gonna talk to this person or whatever.
Yeah, and also I don't really think there is like a right person. I feel like
honestly,
like there's so many soulmates you have. It's like you might meet this one person and you might think this person, or like there's probably better out there. Like someone might be easier to love, might get me more, might be just like me, but I want to pick this person. That's just how it goes. It feels right for you, so you pick them. But that doesn't mean they're like the only right person. It's just that's your person. You pick them.
I can't that's so hard to process. What it is that compels you to that? Is it sexual? Is it a sexual attraction? Is it like physical? Like just biochemical?
I don't know. It's just happens.
No, I know. I don't know either. It's just like weird to think about because people always say like this is the right person, and all of us go think like when we know, we know. It's like, bitch, do any of us know? We just have our fingers crossed that like, okay, like we'll try to make it work, and so I think my only point in that is just like, damn, I hope I eventually, or I hope in general, my mind can come to rationalize like, okay, like this is what it means to pick the right person. It's a theory. It's a working theory. I don't know what much else to say besides that. Like, I don't know. I think that's this helps with coping and with grief. I think because especially when it's grief, you might romanticize them, and so when you think about it logically a little bit, it allows you to be like, okay, like maybe they weren't the right person. Like, sure, they got me like this, but they didn't do this. Because a lot of times we get into the habit of thinking we can fix everything. Every problem is fixable. Sometimes not every problem is fixable. I don't know why. Some just don't have solutions. It's weird to think about because we're taught that we can overcome everything and grow through everything, but sometimes we literally just can't, and no amount of therapy or anything will change the fact that you can't grow past this problem. And I think that's what I'm getting at. It's weird that there's some problems that you can't solve. So I think when you find your right person, it's find someone that doesn't have any of these unsolvable problems. That's really your best bet, because yeah, you'll constantly have to solve problems. Just make sure it's not an unsolvable one.
But I feel like life is just having unsolvable problems.
No, I don't.
I think you really are just like reading a lot into it. It's like,
I love doing that.
no, you really shouldn't. Like, you want to know so bad, but the thing is that like this whole process is all about like not knowing, and that's the scary part. That's why grieving is so hard, because we don't know. Like, maybe you might think that was like the best time of your life, but it's not.
Yeah. I think for me it wasn't even that. Or like it was or I was just thinking about like, sorry, I'm rambling, but
No, it's okay.
just I don't know, it's a thought I have in my head of how do you commit to someone?
Oh, girl, don't look at
Right?
me.
Like
Just kidding.
that's crazy. I've done it, but
what do you mean?
it's just still weird that like we commit to people. Like imagine you, right? You're in this relationship. They're good. They're great. There's a lot of issues. How in your head do you rationalize that like you're able to commit to this person? And I think what I mean by that is the only way to really know that is if, first of all, you feel like the problems they have is something that can be solved. So if it's unsolvable, you can't commit. So that's that.
I don't think
But
I need a
okay,
rationale for
But
it.
the thing is,
It's
like, I feel like, I mean, at least at our age, and I feel like for most ages too, people are gonna have unsolvable problems,
Right.
and it's just a matter of what problems can you put up with.
Yeah.
yes.
It's not like I need to fix this. It's just like, can I work through it with you? You know, that's just like, because you're not gonna find a perfect person.
Yeah, right. Everyone will always have issues, so that's true.
Exactly.
And do you really have to rationalize like committing to someone? Isn't that
Yes,
just
absolutely.
That's just love.
yeah, like
No.
isn't that just like a subconscious choice you make that like
Yeah.
I love this person and I trust them and I want to commit to them. I don't have to be like, so they have these issues and I don't. Is it worth committing? Like I'm not really.
I used to think of it that way.
I think
you
I
know?
think that is actually like what you're supposed to do. Only when you
I think
about
it
To an
is,
extent.
To an
but
extent.
but from what I'm hearing from you, it just seems like you want to read into every little thing and like you, like love just isn't like that. It's
Oh,
It's n-
okay. I see what you're saying.
there aren't any instructions and there's no right way to do it. It's just you go through it and then you make the decisions, you learn from your mistakes, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
Until you eventually find one person and you're like, okay, like this person, and then maybe it won't work. Then you divorce and then marry again, and it's like it's just this
And
whole
then you find happiness in your children.
Yeah, literally. Like, I
maybe
don't want any more fucking-
happiness within yourself. Let's
Yeah.
consider that, guys.
Yeah. No. Honestly, I think I'm just overthinking it. Like, honestly, what it comes down to is like, because even I have felt it. Like, I love this person so much. I'm willing to forever love them. I want to give them love forever. Work through their issues forever. Like, you have so much love that you're willing to commit to them and work through their issues till the end of time. the only thing you do have to talk about if you're getting married is like, okay, like, are we having kids or not? Because if you want kids and I don't want kids, then we have to break up. You know? So those are the only issues that I mean by unsolvable problems. It's really not that deep. That's just... Anyways,
Okay.
that's the point of it. That's the point of it. I don't know why.
You should
it
have
was
like
just...
clarified
Yeah.
that specific question
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in the beginning.
No, yeah, because I realized that's what I meant. Like, I figured out the answer while I was like talking.
You know,
and
it's
hearing
kind of like
everything.
that show. What show was it? The one where they switch partners.
Oh,
The Ultimatum. It's like this girl didn't want kids. The guy wanted kids. And then they, you know, broke off for a while. She started seeing somebody else. And then he like proposes. Even though the issue was still there.
Yeah,
Was
it's like-
not talked about before the proposal.
yeah,
And so it's just like,
babes.
those are unfixable.
Those are.
And you
very
shouldn't
unfixable.
sacrifice your own wants and needs just to please another person.
Yeah.
So, I think it's just because for the longest time I thought I had commitment issues, and I was like, how do you even decide to commit to someone? But I think I finally found the answer. When you love someone, you truly do just want to.
Wow.
But it's
After years and years.
That's so revolutionary.
Thank
Honestly,
you.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
feel like being in this relationship has helped a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
really- it really has.
It's, you learn a lot just by
It's-
loving.
It's taught me a lot of myself and just being in a relationship, learning how to like love another person, period.
Yeah.
Just, it's more than I thought it would be.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, I will leave you off with one last thought.
Okay.
According to this article.
I can't shut up. Literally, sorry. I want to provide
I'm
value
just
for our
joking.
listeners.
Thank you, Kyle. Our smart
It's good that we
king.
have someone who thinks very logically.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know I think logically, but that's like, that's
the
like
thing, it's
me.
'cause
I'm like,
It's like
fucking
super logical, super emotional, and then you're like the in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The happy medium.
Literally, that's a good way to put it. That's the new
Wow.
era of TT, the super logical. Super
KGT.
emotional. KGT. That's KGT.
yeah.
The KGT arc. No. Yeah. Honestly, I think my therapist. I just want to get approval from my therapist and have him be like, wow, you're the perfect client, you're amazing, you're so good. I want those words of affirmation, so I have to optimize my thinking to become.
So you have to pay for them.
Yeah. See, that's just my habit.
Guys, give Gal some
have to
words
do
of
everything in life
affirmation down
perfectly.
below.
I have to use the perfect like psychological healing plan to get through problems, because whatever. My last thought that I will leave you with is, if you're going through a friendship breakup, a relationship breakup, or lost something you love, lost anyone you loved, try giving yourself the love that you gave that person or thing. I think a lot of times people that love very, very deeply don't know what to do with their love after a person's gone, and so they lose a lot of meaning. It's like, my whole point is to love people. I want to love someone. I want to have someone to love. And so once that person is no longer there and they have no one to give it to, they shut down. So if that's you, because that's definitely me, practice giving yourself that love. Because as people that love a lot, we tend to not give ourselves any of that, and we don't save any of that for ourselves. So love yourself. But anyways, any last thoughts?
Time heals. It really
Yeah.
does. Or at least it makes things less painful. And, you know, right now, especially since it's fresh, you think like, how the hell am I gonna like get past this? But that's what you thought a few years ago when you went through it, your first traumatic experience.
Yeah.
And that's just life. You're just gonna keep on going through things, but just be patient with yourself. You know, there is no timeline. There is no set date for you to be healed or, you know, your grief to be gone. It's whatever you want it to be. Whatever experience you want it to be, you'll go through it. So wish you the best, babes.
Yeah. As soon as you are able to embrace change, then the easier it'll be to just go through life and just really live it to the fullest.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's so much there's so much to experience. Like, and I know a lot of our listeners are in high school and stuff, so trust me, that person you met is not your forever person. Like, you have so
Yeah.
much to experience beyond high school, beyond college, beyond your 20s. Like it's like
Crazy, right? Like
Like,
life
it's
goes beyond
life-
your 30s. Like,
yes, like there is so much, and I think people get so narrow-sighted about it. So
Yeah. There's so much life. So much.
but it's like we say it's so much, but in reality,
It goes
I
by
feel-
quick.
it goes by quick, and at
Mhm.
times it feels like it's not enough.
It's just there's so many
Yeah.
people you meet. That's the thing. It goes by quick, but there will be so many people you meet. You would be like, whoa, I thought like I had met all the people that I was going to
Mhm.
meet. Thousands of people you will meet. And that's true. It's just,
think of all the connections you're gonna make and all the memories you're gonna make. Like it's not always gonna be good like memories, but it's gonna be. I don't know.
it's okay.
It's just
you
it's
got to
a part
be
of
okay
life
with getting
and-
hurt.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. And like, even me, I'm like, I don't want any other friendship ever again. Like, I don't want to be friends with anyone. Like, if it's not forever, like, I don't want to get hurt. It's just, but I know I have to do it because there's no other excuse. Like,
You
I
just-
have to put myself through this pain.
Yeah, you can't have the good without the bad, or the
You
bad
can't.
without
It
the good.
sucks. But
You'll get through this.
Yes.
thank you.
Hearts for Kyle.
Thank you, everyone. And also, like, yeah, just put your trust in the universe. If you meet someone when you're young and you truly think you love them, and you break off and you don't see any flaws yet, but you like, there's still stuff to experience. So honestly, like, it's like, marriage is 60 years. Like, I don't want you being like 75 thinking like, I wish I would have hooked up with more people in college. I wish I had more sex. I wish I had more relationships, more flings. That's a big regret a lot of people have. So put your trust in the universe. Put yourself first. Maybe not your relationship first. Put yourself first and your memories, and really be honest if you want to experience things and if this will limit you from experiencing that.
Mm-hmm.
So important. So hard. Anyways, thank you for listening. Remember, we do our Spotify live every day, or not every day, every Sunday at 6 p.m. PST. You can listen to the Spotify app or download the Spotify Live app and listen. We post the link on our Instagram, Twitter, and Discord if you're interested at Teenager Therapy with KGT. So you get advice from us. Come talk to us. Tell us about your breakup, your love stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.